And to discuss this now is aviation analyst Olumide Ohuayo with us in the studio. Olumide, good morning.
Good morning.
Good
nice
morning
to see you.
I
remember when the domestic flights were going to open, and we talked about it, and you were talking about protocols that have to be on ground and all of that. Now we're looking forward to international flights now, as announced by the Minister of Aviation. Now, some people have said, well, in fact, from when he tweeted at first, all the reactions were like, thank God, oh, we can't wait, we need to travel now, and all of that. But what reactions have you been getting from people? And one would say, is it too early, or is it too late, or is it just appropriate?
The word too late is not appropriate because the whole industry was waiting for it. The domestic flight alone is not enough for the industry. Okay. It's concerning the rolling of funds and the activities. So we all waited for it, we all prayed for it, and we also were all pushing and said, look, open our international airports, please. We want to start international flight. I'm happy they've announced it now. What happened during the domestic flight? They've announced August 29th. We will now wait for the actual date when the airlines will start operations, because there are still a lot of things the airlines will go through, and the aviation bodies, all of the organizations that has to do with international operations. All of this, they must pass on those health and safety protocols before the actual flights.
But I'd like to ask you, of course, the aviation sector, they say they have lost a lot of money. But from your own perspective, how soon do you think they can recover from this loss?
Oh, the truth is, this pandemic is the worst ever that has taken the industry down. Before then, we had the SARS, we had the financial meltdown, we had the 9/11. These are like even the Gulf War. These were all activities that affected the industry. But then at that time, it was taking maybe regions. Some regions were more affected than the other. But this time around, everybody went on ground. And today, everybody is crying, from the airlines to manufacturers, from the manufacturers to travel agents to the MROs, that's repair organizations, train. Everybody was grounded. So it's the worst ever. And if you're looking at pickup cannot get up to that. We're looking at 2023 to get back fully. It'll making revenue. Then start talking about profitability. You might start operation, yes, but we cannot get profitability.
That's over 2 years.
Yes, because as at now, the passenger confidence is between 35 to 45%. And what the passenger confidence means that when you're going, your passengers that will board that flight, you're having about 45% seating capacity. Wow. So, but you know what has happened now? Most of the airlines have reduced frequencies. They have parked aircraft, and when you reduce frequencies, when you park aircraft, some things will suffer. One of them is the revenue that comes in, staff, and other things.
All right. When some of the countries, other countries opened up their airspace, there were designated countries to which they would allow flights into, or, and to, and all of that. Nigeria has not come up with that. Are we expecting that Nigeria is going to say, okay, countries or flights from such countries can come and such countries cannot come for a period of time, and all that's categorization? You
could see, from what you've played now, you could see the minister was conscious and said they will come up with some guidelines. What is out right now are the health and safety protocols, which can also be reviewed as the days go by. But for sure, you will definitely have, yes, we have opened the airspace. Are you sure you can get to some countries, even with the airspace? As of today, South Africa is not open. So anybody hoping to travel to South Africa cannot travel for now. Then there are some countries that have said, okay, we are not on their list. And we expect that if we cannot get on their list, they also will not get on our list. I expect the government to do the same thing.
That reciprocity or retaliation, as the case may be.
Yes, it must work, because Tanzania tried it recently with Kenya, and when Kenya retaliated, so we expect the government to stand by, look at the list, look at what each country, what they've given to us. Those who say we should not come, then also should not come. Those who say our airlines cannot go, then the airlines cannot come. We must use this period to balance this trade and ensure that the aeropolitical features we have it in Nigeria too.
All right.
As much as people are, excited that they can now travel for business or pleasure or to go see their families, what will travel look like now?
Yeah, for the passengers, the experience will be different this time around. Most of the tickets now, you have to do everything online. About 95%, you want the interface between the passenger and the frontline staff, the ticketing is now reduced. And even when you get there, you're going to see something like a mask or a barrier separating you from the ticketing official. Now, coming to the airport itself, the body will not be like what we used to have before, whereby everybody will queue up. They're not segmented, but called if maybe the first 20, or those who are sitting by the window seat to board. Those are the rear to board first. So it's not that group boarding. And this time around again, when you get in, you're asked to place your luggages where you would not interfere or touch any of the other passenger or disturb them on your way out. So as I've analyzed the boarding pattern, so also it's disembarkation. You're also not encouraged to use the toilet too often in the cabin during the flight. But international flight, that's almost impossible. You're going for about 5-6 hours.
Exactly.
But what you're going to get now in flight, not like before that you could call for wine, go back and say, then give you a bottle of beer. That will not work. A kind of beer, sorry. That will not work now. You now have the foods the food already pre-packed. So also are the liquid. They're not serving cups again in our glasses. You just be given a pint bottle to have to yourself. And like I said, you encourage you to keep maintaining your seat, giving little food, giving little drinks, so you will not be encouraged to use the toilet. And then as a disembarkation, you go through the same process. Again, there are some quarantine rules now. Before you can embark from the country, they just ask that you must have done the COVID test and provide the test. And before you even board that flight, you must have paid for the COVID test in Nigeria. Which is about 50,400 naira. And the airline must show proof. All the passengers on board have that. And when you come in, your passport is taken at the airport. You proceed on the self-isolation, pending when you do the Nigerian test here, and you come out negative.
That test, having your test about 72 hours before you travel and all of that is part of what a lot of persons have been a little concerned about. How challenging would that be, or clumsy would that be for people who are going to travel and then you have to go and conduct a test first?
I think it depends on if it's to travel out, it depends on what the country you are going to, what their rules states.
Okay.
Some might say, I read some this month saying you was doing about 14 days before you travel, did minimum of 5 days before you travel. But Nigeria is saying that if you come in, you have to do it within 72 hours. But before then, you proceed on self-isolation. Once you clear that, then your passport is released to you.
But wouldn't it, because sometimes we have heard of touts getting, for instance, issues like yellow card for people who are traveling, because when you get to the designated clinics to do those things, the crowd is so much, and then it gives room for touts to make these things available for people. Wouldn't that?
I think this time around, the protocols in place and the lines made available to the customers and passengers to call. There was a recent allegation of people who returned, who wanted to do tests, and some officials at the airport were collecting money from them. And FAN immediately issued out this statement and issued phone numbers. If there's anybody that's collected money from you and is that staff, please call this number and give us the person's name. And I think that's you cannot stop some bad things from being bad anyway. But you can limit their influence in the society.
Well, without this mind that people have to pay, you might just consider staycation.
But when you look at that cost, it's cheaper compared to in England. It's about £350. About £350 for the same test.
Wow. Aviation analyst Olumide Umayo, thank you so much for your thoughts on Tuesday.
Thank you. Good morning.
Right.